You can boycott a tech giant. You can stop buying overpriced tools. You can even choose to live off-grid. But there is one thing you can never ever boycott: thirst. While the world was distracted by AI hype and stock market bubbles, a handful of trillion-dollar firms were quietly seizing the most essential resource on Earth: water. Not through conquest, not through legislation, through contracts. It's the ultimate rent-seeking model, a market with zero competition, no escape, and guaranteed returns for the next 40 years. Today, we expose the BlackRock water trap and the poison pills that make it irreversible. The blue gold thesis. To understand this, you have to understand horizontal shareholding. In a healthy market, companies compete to lower your prices. Competition drives innovation. Competition protects consumers. But BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street aren't interested in competition. They are the top shareholders in nearly every major water giant: Veolia, Suez, American Waterworks, Aqua America. When the same three firms own controlling stakes in companies that are supposed to be competing, competition becomes theater, and the consumer loses every single time. By owning the players on both sides of the board, they've turned water into blue gold, an asset class that is inflation-proof and recession-resistant. People cut Netflix during a recession. They don't cut water. Water futures are now traded on Wall Street. The same commodity that determines whether you live or die is now a speculative financial instrument. This isn't capitalism. This is extraction masquerading as investment. The lease and extract model. Let's look at the playbook in action. Bayonne, New Jersey, 2012. The city was in a debt crisis, municipal budgets crushed by the 2008 financial collapse. Infrastructure crumbling. That's when a private equity-backed venture approached with a solution: a lump sum payment, immediate cash. In exchange, the investors would take over the water system. 40-year lease. It was a Trojan horse. The city got a one-time check. The investors got a 40-year monopoly. Water rates didn't just go up, they exploded. Because once the private operator controlled the infrastructure, residents had no alternatives. You can't boycott water. You can't switch providers. You pay what they charge, or you don't get water. This is the goal: to turn public infrastructure into a private ATM. Bayonne isn't unique. The same model has been replicated in cities across America, Europe, and the developing world. The pattern is always the same: a city in financial distress, an offer that sounds too good to refuse, a long-term contract, and rates that climb year after year. Check your own water bill. Is it managed by a private company? If so, you're living inside this model right now. The poison pills. Now here's the part they don't want you to read. Why can't a city just cancel the contract when things go wrong, when rates become unaffordable, when residents are protesting? Because of poison pills. Legal clauses buried in the contracts that make cancellation financially impossible. Meet the take-or-pay clause. If the citizens of a city conserve water to lower their bills, the city still has to pay the private firm for the volume they didn't use. Read that again. You are literally fined for being environmentally conscious. The private operator projects revenue based on a certain volume of water consumption. If actual consumption drops below that projection because residents are conserving water, installing low-flow fixtures, or using less during droughts, the city still pays for the projected volume. This is the opposite of every incentive structure that should exist in water management. Cities should be rewarded for conservation. Residents should be encouraged to use less. Instead, the contract punishes efficiency. Then there's the exit fee, the termination penalty, the cost to buy back what the city already owned. To reclaim their own water system, many cities would have to pay out the entire projected profit of a 40-year contract. We're talking billions of dollars for infrastructure the city built. For a resource the city originally controlled, it's financial suicide, which is exactly the point. The poison pills aren't bugs in the contract, they're features. They ensure that once control is transferred, it's transferred permanently. The city can't afford to cancel. The residents can't vote their way out. The contract is locked. The architects rely on you finding this too boring to pay attention to. They rely on 40-year contracts, outlasting the attention span of voters, journalists, and elected officials. By the time people realize what happened, the people who signed the deal are long gone, but the contract remains. The ESG mask. And here's how they sell it to the public. ESG, environmental, social, and governance. Corporate advertisements show clean rivers, smiling children drinking fresh water. Sustainability reports with green logos and promises about protecting the planet. They claim they're saving water, investing in infrastructure, modernizing outdated systems. But look at Chile. Water rights are traded like Bitcoin while farmers go dry. Entire communities watch their wells run empty while private firms export water to cities that can afford premium rates. This isn't sustainability. This is the financialization of life itself. ESG is the mask. The extraction happens behind it. Shareholders get guaranteed returns, and the marketing department produces videos about corporate responsibility. Meanwhile, the people who actually need the water watch prices climb and access shrink. The bigger picture. The water trap is just one floor in the building. From the tools you buy to the bridges you cross, the extraction is everywhere. Infrastructure that should serve the public has been converted into revenue streams for private capital. Toll roads, parking meters, airports, water systems, each operating on the same model: long-term contracts, guaranteed returns, poison pills that prevent escape. This is the architecture of modern extraction. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Governments can change, elections happen, but contracts, especially 40-year contracts with termination penalties in the billions, those don't change. That's why the architects prefer contracts to legislation. Legislation can be repealed. Contracts are binding: the water you drink, the roads you drive, the infrastructure you depend on, all being quietly transferred from public ownership to private control. Not through revolution, through deals signed by officials who won't be in office when the bills come due. The reality. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is documented. The contracts are public record. The shareholders are listed in SEC filings. The rate increases show up on your bill every month. BlackRock manages over $10 trillion. Vanguard manages over $8 trillion. State Street manages over $4 trillion. Combined, these three firms are the largest shareholders in virtually every major corporation on Earth, including the ones that control your water. They don't need to own 100% to control it. They just need to own more than anyone else. And when the same three firms are top shareholders in every major player, competition becomes coordination. Your water bill isn't determined by a free market. It's determined by a cartel with a 40-year contract and legal poison pills that make escape impossible. The water trap isn't coming. It's already here, in hundreds of cities, affecting millions of people. The question isn't whether this is happening. The question is whether you're going to keep ignoring it. The water trap is just one example of how public resources become private profit centers. To see how this same debt trap model is being used to own entire nations through privatized infrastructure, you need to understand the full architecture. From water to bridges to entire transportation networks, the pattern is always the same. Financial distress, a rescue offer, a long-term contract, poison pills, and guaranteed extraction for decades. Once you see the architecture, they lose their power. I'm Robert, and this is Architects of Power. If you want to know which public resources are being privatized next, subscribe for our upcoming deep dive into the toll road industry.